This voluntary program mandates that market rate developers receiving assistance from the city either build 1 out of every 10 housing units for low to moderate income families per development or pay a mandatory fee. Previously, the fee was $100,000 per unit. With the new amendment, developers can pay a reduced fee of $50,000 instead of building much-needed affordable units and or build these units up to 2 miles away from their developments. Here's the question. How do you plan to ensure that market rate developers in the 10th Ward build affordable units on site? And if they do choose to pay the fee instead, how would you ensure that the money is targeted towards housing families within the 10th Ward? Candidate Garza.
First, I would ensure that residents have the proper understanding and resources to be able to identify that they would be a victim of housing discrimination. Secondly, my administration would focus on addressing the root causes of economic inequality by attracting living wage employment opportunities in our ward. Finally, I would mandate any new housing development have a minimum of 30% low-income housing options. This is vital to the people of the 10th Ward, where 38% of the people that live here are victims of redlining or housing discrimination. So we need to make sure that they're educated on what that is and how they can prevent it.
Thank you. I have a long history of supporting and advocating for affordable housing in this community. I've had the opportunity over the years to work with groups like, again, Clarice and Associates and the Spanish Coalition for Housing, where we've been successful in bringing affordable housing to this neighborhood. Just down the street, the Victory Center, the Senior Center is an example of that, as well as Casa Kerr family. And up and down the street, we see New Homes for Chicago, programs that I've been supportive of since day one, working in collaboration with our local agencies. The ARO was mentioned, the Affordable Renters, the Affordable Requirements Ordinance. That is something that I've supported in the past and just was proud to support in the last City Council. How do you get developers to stay adhering to that? Well, you force them to do that with an RDA, and anyone in development knows that, a redevelopment agreement. They want to come into the ward, they have to abide by our RDA, and especially as it pertains to city-owned property. There's several lots here in the community that are available for redevelopment. If we want to bring housing in, we should market as we have those lots, but we have the ability then to tie those developers to the restrictions that we want.
Thank you. Candidate Garza, you now have 30 seconds to respond.
The Alderman's office needs to be a plethora of information. The information that's provided that you're speaking of right now needs to be brought to the people so they know where to get these programs. It's important that not just Victory Center and these senior homes are wonderful for our seniors, but we have tons of families that need the same affordable housing as well as seniors. So it doesn't just need to, we can't just focus on seniors, we need to focus on the whole community.
And maybe my opposition didn't hear me, but we talked about senior housing, family housing, and individual homes up and down the street. I find it ironic that you're supporting affordable housing when you yourself haven't been diligent on paying your real estate taxes. Items that affect the bottom line.
One second, ma'am. One second, ma'am, please.
No, I'm sorry, but I'm Susan's mother and she's paid all her taxes. This is ridiculous. I'm ashamed of you, John.
If I can have everybody's attention.
I work for the Board of Ed and my husband works for the city. If I did not pay my taxes, I wouldn't have a job.
It is 6:30. I would hate for us to cut this forum in half. When we came in, we said that we would abide by the rules that were.
No lying. You said no lying.
I understand. We want to be able. We want to be able. What we mentioned opening up was no personal attacks. We also said that when we as the audience, we represent the 10th Ward. We represent a strong 10th Ward. Candidates, please, if you can gain your composure, if you can stick with the questions and not attack each other. Because we will shut the forum down and we will go home. We want to be able to get the questions answered that everyone has. Do we agree?
We agree. He's a bully. Typical bully.
Right, Ron.
I'm gonna proceed with the next question. This has to do with immigration and citizenship. Candidates. Centro de Trabajadores Unidos has assisted over 270 residents to obtain citizenship. This program under Immigrant Integration Services is part of Illinois Department of Human Services and currently under review for elimination. Most recently, the U.S. Census estimates that 15,097 immigrants live in the 10th Ward, and 47% of those residents are naturalized citizens. So the question is, will you proactively advocate for funding on behalf of Illinois Refugee and Immigrant Services Program and reach out to our governor to support funding for this program? Ms. Garza?
Yes. Absolutely. This ward was built by immigrants. My great-grandfather came from Poland and my father-in-law came from Mexico. It's very important that we celebrate each other's diversity. And the current administration wants to keep us divided because that's how they keep political control. I totally believe that it's very important. I've worked with immigrants in this city, in our ward, to take them to get the resources they need downtown as well as within our ward. We need to make sure that the opportunities are afforded to everyone, not just the select few.
I have a strong record of supporting immigrant rights, not only across the city, but in the 10th Ward in particular. And obviously this city, this ward, this entire nation is made up of immigrants. No one is better or worse than anyone else. We all deserve a chance. Specifically, I've worked on resolutions to urge the federal government to take action on everything from the DREAM Act, which is too far late. We should have had that enacted years ago. I've worked directly with Immigrant Workers Project and trying to assist them. I've been at OLG when we had immigration fairs and we've had immigration debates. I understand the importance of working with people to make dreams a reality. And yes, I will work directly with the governor and the president and our Congress to urge that legislation is passed, including appropriate funding to ensure that immigrants are treated fairly.
You want to give a rebuttal? Thank you for your answers. We have another question.
Yeah, now, we have a question on lakeside development. Is this microphone working?
We can hear you. Yeah.
The lakeside development will be the largest development in the region, and our taxes will help support it. $119 million in TIF funds have been committed to it. $65 million was spent on the Lakeshore Drive extension, which runs through the development. The Coalition for a Lakeside CBA has drafted a proposed community benefits agreement, a written agreement with the developer outlining commitments to the community. The CBA includes jobs, training, and educational opportunities for local residents, environmental protections, and supporting tax relief for long-time residents. So the question is, do you specifically support the Coalition's CBA? How will you support coalition efforts to get a CBA for lakeside development, what do you think are the top priorities? Alderman Pope.
I do support a CBA, Community Benefits Agreement, for the lakeside development, and I've shown my commitment in dealing with the community to ensure that they are represented. For years, we've been working to try to revitalize that site, which will in turn revitalize the neighborhood. And the community has and will continue to be heard. Because of the involvement and input of the community, changes have been made along the development of that site, including the realignment of the US 41, including creating the east-west connections for those streets to ensure the neighborhood is not cut off, and ensuring that any development will include people's input. I do favor CBA, and I favor a board, which some of the people here today are part of, to ensure that we're not just talking about a community benefits agreement, but the overall development of the project for years to come. And some of you here in the audience, like Angela, were part of a conversation that we had a few weeks ago to ensure that community input is in place, to ensure that our wants and needs are heard and taken into account.
Just very quickly, to clarify, do you specifically support the coalition's CBA?
I support a CBA, which may include all or more of this CBA.
Ms. Garza.
Yes.
I have been part of the coalition. I've attended numerous meetings, which you have not been at. A CBA is imperative because it will prioritize local residents for jobs, provide job training and educational support for local schools, and it will guarantee affordable...
Sue, I'm sorry, just hold your train of thought. Again, we're not attacking on both sides, please. Please.
It'll provide job training and educational supports for local schools. It'll guarantee affordable housing, and it supports tax relief for local residents and provides environmental protections. This is vital to our community's survival. I have attended numerous workshops, planning meetings, and demonstrations for the CBA, the Coalition's CBA, and I will continue to push for the Coalition's CBA. We cannot allow our community to be stolen by profit-driven developers and corrupt elected politicians.
Yeah, thank you. I've been involved with this development since day one. It's been a slow, challenging process, but we are making progress. And it's because of the involvement with all the community. And I am very familiar with the Lakeside CBA, and have been involved with that and met with individuals representing that on numerous occasions. I think the priorities are to create affordable and market rate housing, because we need to spur more economic development and create opportunities for all. Also, local job opportunities, including training and job preparedness to ensure that people from the neighborhood can get those jobs, and tax relief, measures to ensure that the local residents aren't taxed out of their homes.
All right, just want to remind everyone to hold their applause to the end. All right, Lakeside Development is expected to offer 139,000 plus jobs over the next 30 years. Meanwhile, South Chicago has 17% unemployment, 30% of the people living in poverty, and a high number of formerly incarcerated youth and adults. Question: what are your plans to connect both students and residents from the surrounding neighborhoods to the local economic opportunities, especially at the Lakeside Development? Candidate Garza, we're going to start with you. What are your plans to connect both students and residents from the surrounding neighborhoods to the local economic opportunities, especially at Lakeside Development?
Well, it's imperative that the community has an input in this project. If we don't